episode of Between Bears and Bulls. It has been a while since we've been here. It is 2025. I'm not afraid to say it. It's been a while since we recorded. So I'd like to start it off by saying Happy New Year's, even though we're almost ending January.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
I'm joined today by the pinnacle of academia. We love having her here. She brings so much life and excitement to our show, Dr. Maya Burt-Stewart.
Good evening, Angel.
And I am joined, as always, by our financial expert. We love having him here. He is the financial wizard. This is the man who owns all of Wall Street. We have Yinka Machikadumi in the studio today.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Angel, with you and Dr. Stewart. It's going to be great. We ended up with a bang last year.
Yes,
we're going to start with a bang.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to have you guys back here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a very honest person. I am not afraid to say it. We are re-recording an episode. So you're going to hear some information, more updated information, given a certain time gap. So let's start off with today's topic being cryptocurrencies. What is cryptocurrencies? How does it diverge with AI? How can AI help you keep track more or less of your finances? And, well, let's see the future of cryptocurrencies. So I believe last time we spoke about this, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a long time. I believe last time we discussed it, crypto or Bitcoin was around $60,000, $50,000. Now it's broken over the barrier of $100,000. I know geopolitically around the world, a lot of countries are beginning to embrace cryptocurrencies. They're beginning to embrace Bitcoin. They're trying to push for it to be more of a, I guess, foundational matter per se. And I know a lot of companies also want to make their own digital currencies. So on this topic, Yinka, Dr. Burt, let's talk crypto.
Well, since Yinka loves crypto, and of course our viewers, if you've seen us before, they know that's not true. We'll let Yinka lead us into this.
So since we spoke last time,
yes,
crypto has been doing great, specifically Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I know what you're going to ask me. You're going to ask me if it was a good investment, right?
Exactly what I'm going to ask.
Everything that makes money is not a great investment.
All money ain't good money?
All money ain't good money.
Okay.
So I'll start with that. Bitcoin is still doing what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
It's still a very speculative asset.
Okay.
It has the ability to go up and down without being predicted by the experts and based on public sentiment. In this case, since we spoke last time, we've had a different and change of administration.
Yes, we have. Yes.
And it appears that the public believes that this administration is pro-crypto. Right? As you can see, in the same wave of crypto, the current administration released 2 meme coins that cracked $10 billion in total cap, which is unusual because we're talking about Bitcoin, but then there was a meme coin that cracked a ridiculous valuation. And as you know my position, meme coins are usually very, very worse than cryptocurrencies, right? Yes. So there's a sentiment, and that's what happens is that the public sentiment determines the valuation because it's not tied to anything. We talked about it last time. It doesn't produce anything. It's not the greatest store of value. If you want to store value, you don't want to store value in something that's volatile like cryptocurrency. Yes. However, this is not my time. This is the time of the people. People have decided that somehow it's worth investing in Bitcoin. What say you guys?
So even with this new administration and the hype now and the success that a meme coin is having, I think about Doge. Right? Dogecoin, which, me and tons of other folks that I know, we went and bought thousands of shares of Doge. And so as Yinka talks about, a market that it's not dependable and that's volatile, right? We've seen Doge go to, it was at 10 cents, and then it's been up as high as 50-some%.
Yes.
And so my money is here, and then my money is here, and then my money is here, and then my money is so yes, it definitely holds true. But I just think about, under this new administration, it just feels like it's going to be the time or the age for crypto, right? Reimagined or,
Yes.
certainly reinvented. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing, just what happens. And, unlike Yinka, love you, Yinka, but listen, if that's the wave, I'm jumping on that wave.
You got to do what you got to do. Just don't put more than 10% of your portfolio in crypto.
Yes, absolutely.
Good point.
Well, I mean, as you both mentioned, and as we mentioned as we were starting the show, Bitcoin broke that $100,000
Yes,
barrier.
it did.
Broke that 6-digit barrier, right? A lot of people speculated it would go down to 0. A lot of people speculate it'll go up to 1 million and higher. In my opinion, I'm not an expert, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take my advice. I would say, considering that Bitcoin has now broken into that 6-digit range, it's somewhat feasible. It could probably break into the 9-digit range. We don't know. Again, I'm not an expert. Don't throw your money away on Bitcoin and then blame me. So, but I do want to ask, Yinka. So investing into cryptocurrencies, I know, can be very risky, right?
Yes.
It can be, you don't really have much of a secure footing on whether it's going to go up, it's going to go down, or if it's going to go around in circles.
Right.
But strategies of investing with Bitcoin, because quite often, even now into 2025, we see that there are a lot of people that say, hey, buy my book or buy my course. I can teach you how to invest into cryptocurrencies with different strategies. And I would say that they also go to a degree where they compare it with foreign exchange markets, right? They compare it to actual real-life Forex where maybe you're trading the USD to the euro or, the USD to the pound sterling. Is there really a way where cryptocurrency can trade more or less with that same strategy, or no?
You mean as an equivalent?
Yes, as an equivalent.
Yeah, because there's cryptocurrencies that's used as hedge right now, right? We know that, and the reason for that is to kind of minimize the volatility. And so if a cryptocurrency has been hedged to a physical fiat currency, what is the purpose? And I think one of the biggest things we'll talk about today is use cases, right? What is the use case, right? In the case of the one that's hedged, the use case is that you'll be able to transact quickly without fees through the traditional bank, but you're still dealing with something that's pegged to the dollar, right? So in that case, we understand the use case. There's nothing unusual about that, right? Now, in the other ones, I think in the last one of the episodes we recorded last time, the question I asked is, what is the value in the cryptocurrency? I think that was my last statement in that clip is, what is the value? And right now, we need to talk more about use cases, right? So whether it's Bitcoin, meme coin, Dogecoin, what is the actual use case? Are you using it for transactions? Are you going to use it to store value? And you have to tell us how that's a store of value, even though the white paper says it's not a store of value, right? So even the person that created Bitcoin in the white paper has expressed that this was not supposed to be a store of value in some capacity. It was supposed to be a medium of exchange. And right now, we haven't been able to do that, right? You can't buy anything yet with Bitcoin. You have to convert to dollar and move back. At least not directly.
Well, yeah.
Not directly.
And not to the extent that
Mass
you would
market.
imagine. Yeah, you can't. So there are some transactions that are taking place with Bitcoin,
Right.
but it's not just the common.
Right. You haven't been able to do that at a scale that will make the valuation for most people reasonable. Right? Right now, its valuation is very high. However, we still need to believe that the use case has not been proven yet, at least in our era, right? It's not been proven yet.
Yeah, certainly.
So then let me ask you, because I'm pretty sure I proposed this question before, and I'll propose it again. Is there a possibility where Bitcoin could, in itself, overthrow real-life currencies? So I think, as we know right now, the dollar is king, right? The dollar backs the entirety of the American, not just the American, but the world economy. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's an alliance between different countries called BRICS that they're trying to create a new currency to overthrow the dollar.
Yes.
But I would imagine with Bitcoin, the idea was it should be decentralized, unregulated, and I put that in quotation marks, unregulated by the government. And it was, in a way, I don't want to say it was a coup to the dollar, but in a way I would interpret it that it was a way to kind of sideline and replace the American dollar for something more free to use, something easier to use. Is there a risk, or is there a potential chance where Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general could overthrow real-life currencies like the American dollar and et cetera?
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
just don't believe
I
that.
certainly don't think so.
I mean, we've had wars fought to protect the dollar. I don't think any government, U.S. government for that matter, will sit around for a cryptocurrency that they do not control and they can't manage or monitor to overtake the currency of the country, right? Especially when it's not backed by anything, right? It's not. It's basically, again, a digital currency that has a cap. So let's not forget Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a cap on how much can be produced.
Yes.
We don't have a cap on how many people are going to be born over the next 10 years, right?
Yes.
So population will continue to grow. However, Bitcoin has a cap on how much can be mined. So at some point, there'll be a halt, right? That would help the valuation go up if the use case could be proven. However, a country like the U.S. will not sit around for a cryptocurrency to take over. And we could debate what take over actually means.
Yeah.
Whether how it's used, whether it's being used for trade, maybe a country, this is hypothetical obviously, because when we say takeover, I like to kind of give you what my idea of takeover is. Takeover will be something like a country that sells a major resource to the U.S. saying, I'm going to only accept payments in cryptocurrency, specifically this coin. Right? I'm not going to mention any coin, but this coin.
Yes.
And you could imagine what would happen. There would be political repercussions for that type of action.
Yes.
So my question is, in what use case can any what coin could take over the dollar? I don't have one for you today.
And I'd like to just chime in. So I'm with the Inca. Under I won't say under no circumstance, but under no circumstance is there any currency that's going to usurp the dollar, right? Now, with that being said, we, particularly America, we are a developed country. When you think about technology, we're beyond developed, right? When you think about technology, look at where we are today because of technology. Every sector of our society has been impacted in a positive, and in a negative, depending upon who's looking at it, relative to the person, has been impacted by technology. What I do certainly believe that at some point, there is going to be a use case made for crypto. I do believe that only because we're just going to evolve in that way. Technology is just taking us there, just evolving in that way. We remember when Xerox used to be all that in a bag of chips? Well, now we've got phones that scan, right?
True.
Remember when, when good Lord, there's just so much in my head. But I just think about items and activities that used to be here. The machines now. Remember when you used to have coins and quarters to go put in the machine?
Yes,
now you can use your credit card. So my point is we're constantly evolving. It's a done deal. At some point, there will be a use case, I think, for crypto. And will it, be equal to the dollar? I don't know in terms of how it's used and the popularity. I don't know. I think it will. I think at some point it may be. But the dollar, I think, it's here to stay. Think about now. Now, I think that at some point, it may fall to the back. Here's what I mean when I say that. Remember when you used to write a check?
Yes.
How many of us own checks right now? How many of us even remember what a physical check looks like?
Right.
And so I say that to say, the dollar, I think it's going to fall back a little at some point in the future, down the line. I don't know when this is. I don't know if it's 5 years. I don't know if it's 25 years. I don't know if it's when my great grandchildren. I don't know when that is. But you can't be where we are today and look at some of the examples that I've given and not know it's going somewhere. We're going somewhere.
Right.
Like this is not going to be where we are, where we continue to be. Technology is going to continue to take us to those next
100%.
levels, period.
100%.
Yeah. That's just certainly my take on it.
And so now, saying that, because now it makes me think of something. So as you both know, the American dollar is not backed by gold, right? Since the Nixon administration, we've been off the gold standard, et cetera. What do you guys think in terms of tying the American dollar to Bitcoin, since it's I guess a form of like digital gold, and kind of backing one with the other to at the same time, while Bitcoin increases in its own valuation, it, I guess in a more strategical manner, kind of helps the American dollar to mitigate more or less its inflation and its devaluation.
Because of the volatility, I don't know if Yinka would, if this
That's
is
the
where
key
he's
word
going.
right
Because
there.
of the volatility,
That's the
I
key
wouldn't
word.
attach anything to cryptocurrency in that way. Certainly not the dollar, right?
Right.
Which does its own thing on its own. So, but because of the volatility of just the whole crypto, the whole Bitcoin, the whole, just the coins, right?
Yes.
Because of crypto. Yeah, I certainly would not, wouldn't do that.
So if you were the president, you were not going to do that.
No.
Think about this, right? That's the best point right there, is the volatility, right? If you're the president and your interest is securing the financial security of your country, would you take your currency that's widely used
Yes.
and make some sort of legislation or process to require it be backed by a cryptocurrency that you have no control over,
Right.
that has limited circulation too?
Yes.
Because there's going to be a cap. I think people forget about that part of some of this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep mentioning any specific crypto, but people forget that this coin that we're talking about has a cap. And we don't even know what the market reaction will be when that cap is reached. Let's put like this, since we're going to hypotheticals. Let's do hypotheticals. What happens if tomorrow the U.S. says, you know what, we're not going to be printing any more dollar. Whatever dollar is in circulation, we figure out to exchange it. There'll be no new dollar being integrated into the market, into the economic system. So if 20 million babies are born, there's not new money being created. You have to still exchange whatever's available. What do you think is going to happen to the physical value of the dollar?
I would imagine it would increase because it's more scarce.
Yes.
Because of the scarcity. Yeah.
So,
because of the scarcity.
in the last episode, I just posted this video recently again. Does scarcity create value? That's the question we got to ask. You could back it by Bitcoin, but I don't think any government would be comfortable with that. I think they were more comfortable with gold for a while. And eventually what happened, they got off gold. So now we're in a place where the government feels, I think most government feels central banking systems work best for the government to control circulation and economic policy. So that's what you have today. Will that change in the future to Bitcoin or any other coin? I'm very skeptical about that.
Interesting. And so, now that we've kind of discussed it, I want to shift the topic a little bit to AI.
Okay.
So, again, I reiterate, ladies and gentlemen out there, it's been a while since we recorded our last episode. AI has gone off the charts. It has just, I believe, yesterday alone. The entire market has been uprooted and has been in a very, very large frenzy running around. People on Wall Street are questioning the integrity of NVIDIA right now, as well as other large companies that have pledged to invest massive quantities of money into their AI systems.
Yeah.
So let's talk AI. Let's talk AI.
Here's what's funny, right? 3 days before the DeepSeek and NVIDIA market activity happened, I was actually just reading some articles. And I said it in my head like 3 times. I said, wow, we're in an AI bubble. I'm like, wow, we're in an AI bubble. Because the administration also committed $500 billion.
Yes, yes.
So I'm looking at it, I'm like, we have to be in an AI bubble. Because this reminds me a little bit about when we had the .com.
Yeah.
Where there was this ridiculous valuation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the technologists couldn't explain to you how the expenditures will create value, right? So there's a journey, right? I'm going to invest in you, X amount, and then you create something that then creates value to give me my money back, right?
Yes. Yeah.
At the time, most of the .com couldn't prove that.
Yeah.
Most of what we hear in AI, everybody's just buying infrastructure. Okay, fine. And then what happens after infrastructure is built? What happens? We don't know. We really don't know. Now, you're going to have competition. Maybe the price may drop, but the valuation, as proven, maybe a little bit inflated. Maybe we could be wrong, but it seems to be inflated because we're literally buying infrastructure. And think about it, for a lot of companies, these are capital expenses.
Yes.
Capital expenses is interesting in this case because we're buying GPUs, right? Whatever version we're on now.
Yes.
In 3 years or 4 years, that version of infrastructure that Meta bought using the current GPUs from NVIDIA will be obsolete. They'll have to recapitalize with faster, better GPUs.
Yes.
Right? This is an endless pit of money going towards a company who produces a specific asset. How do you, as a company, monetize that? So you've bought GPUs, you buy new GPUs every 3 years. What happens? How's the monetization going to work? We don't have that clarity just now, just yet. So the question for us is, are we in a bubble that we should be cautious about? Now, will there be investment opportunities? Absolutely. But I think we should let history teach us a little bit of a lesson here that sometimes something may sound very glamorous and sexy, but under the hood of that car, there may not be a viable engine in it. It'll be useful for the people. We're using it now already. It's a very useful tool. It's going to make our lives easier and better. But we're talking about just the valuation and the capital expenses that we're putting towards it. As proven by one company out of China,
Yes.
we may be actually spending more than we need to on the infrastructure. Now, whether that's true or not, well, we'll find out.
Yes.
All right, so I hear what you're saying, Nika. So now I'm bringing that home. I'm bringing it home, like really into the house, right? When you talk about, overvalued, I think about the businesses that have been able to, trim their bottom line because of AI, right? Now, I'm saying trim their bottom line, meaning they've had to do some layoffs.
Yes.
They've been able to push back on spending, certain kind of spending, because now AI is able to, create or complete this activity. So when you talk about the value, I think it's subjective, because if I'm an organization, if I'm Amazon,
Right.
if I'm Amazon, for me, because I have physically been to Amazon's warehouses, I've seen their operation, right? I've got to talk to some of their people. I can't imagine that I could spend enough when it comes to AI.
Wow.
Because again, if I'm Amazon, and if you've ever seen inside of one of their warehouses, not warehouses, one of their facilities, I mean, AI, the bots, right? They have, how the little platforms.
Yes.
So they're little square platforms, and OMG, they're
moving.
Yes.
You blink.
They're moving.
It's probably 500 have moved between 500 at a time moved between your blink. And so if I'm Amazon or even Alibaba or somebody to that effect, when you talk about value, I see it.
Right.
I see it being. I see NVIDIA needing to consistently keep those GPUs up to date, because if I'm Amazon, I've got to buy them in order to keep my business operating functionally in the way that it does. Well, and I say functionally, that's an understatement, right? Based upon what I've been able to see physically of their operation going inside. So I hear you, right? And I just think that when you talk about value, from a big picture standpoint, from a market standpoint, from an investment standpoint, I hear you, right? What you're saying, I think resonates more. But then I'm bringing it home, right? I'm bringing it into the organization. I'm bringing it into, so when we get to that level down here, then we're talking about, it's subjective when you talk about
There's a lot
value.
of efficiencies.
Bingo.
that
And we talk about ROI, without efficiencies, there is no return on investment, right?
Yes.
We waste. So, again, depending upon which aspect you're looking at it from, and depending upon who you are in the game or within the scheme of that whole value conversation in AI, that's where it makes a difference, depending upon who you are and where you are.
That's a very good point.
Well, I have to kind of now question what you've both said in terms of the value. So at least my personal experience with AI is for more menial, smaller tasks. Maybe you want to write a script for something. Maybe you want to, simply solve a problem, something like that. I have found that it's very useful. But for more complicated matters, sometimes you want to generate an entire code for a program. Maybe you want much more in-depth and detailed description of a production. Maybe you want a more professionally written documentation of maybe an assignment or maybe an idea that you're working on, a task, anything like that. I found that sometimes that's a little bit lacking. And this is going from saying ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, especially Copilot. No shade, Microsoft. But I found that sometimes they're a bit lacking, and I've always heard that they produce these massive expenses. So as you said, right, the technology that they use, it becomes obsolete very quickly. Usually, Dr. Bird, as you know this, you're a marketer, you're a businesswoman, you know, products usually have a lifespan.
Absolutely.
Right?
Product life cycle,
Exactly.
which is real. Yeah.
A car may last maybe if you take care of it, good 10, 20 years, right? A phone often may last 3, 4, 5 years. A laptop may last more or less the same thing, etc. But I'm finding with AI, the value that they're giving in ratio or in comparison to their lifespan is not that great. But maybe this could be my own ignorance because I'm not as involved with the AI sector either. But, you know, so tell me a little bit about this, Yinka, Dr. Burt. What do you guys think in terms of like that aspect, how much it takes to pour into and create this AI for how much it gives you back when it comes to solving and resolving more complicated tasks and matters?
I think certainly I'm let Inka, but what comes to my mind, you know, I think hospitals, right? Hospitals invest in many different kind of robotics for laser surgery, right? I had a surgery years ago, and, you know, where it used to be they cut you open, you know, now they are putting a dot, you know, a dot on the side here, a dot on the side here, and then there's a laser type object that goes in and takes the whole appendix out, right? Hospitals have invested heavily in that tool, right? Now, how does it save the hospital, right? How does it show that they should have and that they made the right move in investing in that tools? Certainly they have had, you know, cut down on the number of surgeons, right, that now have to be there, the number of nurses, you know, just the number of people that you need for one particular surgery, right? The turnaround time for payment from insurance companies now is a whole lot quicker because the surgeries are happening quicker. It's not taking as long for people to recover. So it's a vicious cycle. Yet, if I'm a hospital, every dime for me from this standpoint, and I sit on boards, right? I sit on major boards, right? $1 billion boards appointed by presidents and governors. So I see at the highest level how there is an ROI in those kinds of situations where you're talking about a company has spent just tons, just a boatload of money. Now, how do they see the return, right? How do they get to view the return on investment? Again, a hospital is just one example that I can give in terms of who does and who should spend a bulk of money on AI or those kind of tools. Now, there are some that shouldn't, right, spend that kind of money and probably won't see a return on investment because you've laid off all your people because AI was working. However, you didn't pay attention and realize that you were working. You have a market and a consumer that needs that one-on-one, right? That's used to that touch, that person. So and before it's over, I'll think of some companies that fit that criteria. But just to respond to you, just right off the back, I think about just our healthcare system, right, and in particular hospitals.
Right. No, that's a good point. It's the healthcare system. My fear is the capex, and this is my financial geek coming out, right? Is that if I'm looking at someone's balance sheet and you have all this capex, and you can't tell me how you're going to gain back, or like she said, ROI, that capex. The question for me as a financial person is this inflated?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I was just pulling up some numbers. Last year, Amazon was scheduled to spend $75 billion on CapEx for just the chips, just the GPUs.
Wow.
Not the data center, not the energy. Remember, we already have an energy issue, right?
Yes.
Because the data centers for the GPUs require so much power. We don't even have the capacity. We don't have the grid right now to even feed data centers for GPUs, right? So the question, if you build out all this infrastructure, $75 billion, at what point does that convert to ROI? And big I question is, are your customers willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'm fine with my Amazon now. Can they make the packages come maybe 20 minutes earlier? How does that affect them? Am I willing to pay a premium for that?
Yes.
They have to recoup that. Meta spent billions also on infrastructure, GPUs. What feature can Meta put out there that will make me pay the additional value for whatever, Facebook or Instagram, for them to recoup that CapEx? That's where my my concern comes from. Is like, what is the use case that recoups this investment? I don't see it yet. I see ChatGPT doing this thing, but most people that you probably know, if you tell them, hey, do you have a subscription to ChatGPT? They're going to say, no, I just use the basic version.
Yes.
So as a financial nerd, my question is, how are you going to recoup the CapEx, capital expenditure that is, right?
Sure.
All right, cool. So then now let me ask you guys this. Merging cryptocurrencies with AI. Okay, so because AI, well, they say it's not completely a brand new idea. It's been out for many years.
Yes.
However, I would argue that in more recent years have we made, these large advancements in the utility and in the reliability of AI for different tasks and different uses and programs and day-to-day activities. But now, if we talk about mixing AI with finances, right? I would imagine there exist people nowadays who they will use AI to help keep track of their finances, to keep track of their expenditure within a certain month or a certain quarter of a year. I imagine there are people who use AI to plan out the budget of an entire event. Maybe there are companies that use it to plan out their budget for different departments and stuff like that. But when you combine AI with cryptocurrencies, I would imagine AI, given the sense of more efficiency, it can mine faster, it can mine more intelligently, and it can, in a way, own Bitcoin and more cryptocurrencies at a much faster rate than the average person can do so. So talk to me about that. What do you guys think in that respect?
For me, that's a very interesting territory. When we talk about AI and crypto in the same sentence, it's a very interesting, borderline scary scenario.
That's where I was going to leave it. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's certainly scary.
Because those two technologies have the potential to limit or eliminate human involvement, right? And combining them, obviously, or working in unison will create less reliance on human intelligence. But now, when you include crypto, you're talking about not just human intelligence, but human spending power, money power is now being controlled by technology that we may not control, because I'm sure you've heard the learning capacity of some of this technology, you just can't kick the plug or unplug it. Like it keeps learning. So at what point does that become a real, that would be a real threat to me, in my opinion, where AI could mine better and then AI could own the crypto. Like, I mean, this is territory that's a little bit light years ahead of my thinking.
Yes.
But I do know from outside of crypto, from an investment standpoint, obviously people use AI right now to find out the best investments to make, how to, create their portfolio, how to de-risk their portfolio. I think those things are happening now with AI. But when you bring crypto into that conversation, the question is, how do you integrate both without creating this havoc for ourselves?
Okay, awesome. Dr. Burt?
So, again, scary, right? Scary. Crypto and AI. I think back to what you've just said in terms of how AI could certainly not revolutionize crypto, but I talked about those next levels. Like AI can certainly be responsible for taking crypto to that next level. I think when I think about it just on the surface, just at a regular user level. AI and crypto are already intertwined, right? In some of the different platforms that are available that have popped up, like the crowdfunding, right? The Robin Hoods, the Mint. Like there are different platforms that right now use AI and where AI is being used to manage, to access even those platforms. There's one, not the crowdfund, there's one particular app where the eyesight, right, where you can use the vision to open the app.
Yes.
There's another one where you can there's a certain your voice, right? There's a way that you can record your voice and you push a button and it'll say whatever you want it to open, like in that voice, and it opens a platform. It opens one of the financial platforms. I mean, it's already, I think, we are already at a whole nother level. What AI can do and will do, really, for crypto, I don't know that we've really seen that yet. I honestly don't know that we've really seen that, but I do say get ready. Right. I certainly say get ready. Right. Because, I mean, just a few of the things, the research that I've done and a few of the things that I've seen where a recorded voice, you can be holding your phone and all you do is tap and it opens an app where you are holding monies, right, where you're holding your currency, right? It's just a button. And it's because it's an AI generated. So it's an AI. It's an AI generated app, or I have to get more information on it. But it's just unbelievable in terms of, again, how AI is already influencing crypto. And I don't think we have even touched put a dent in it. Like, it's just so much more to come.
I'll close out. She just gave me an idea. There's a company that's in development. We'll talk about it more in another episode, that's integrating AI into personal financial management, right? And we had a conversation about Allen Iverson having a part of his salary that was held away even from him. And one of the use cases in this technology that I'm referring to is helping you manage your personal finance based on your personal financial data and your financial goals, where the AI could say to you whether or not you could afford a car. So if you go to a car dealership, you say, hey, the dealer is offering me this car for $67,000 at 5% interest rate. Can I afford it? And your AI partner would tell you, no, you can't afford it because remember, you're supposed to buy this or pay that. What if, in that scenario that Dr. Burt was just talking about, is the AI actually locks you out of your crypto because you're no longer supposed to trade because you said you were supposed to have a crypto sabbatical, or you've reached your spending limit, and the AI says, nah, you can't access it. So again, there's different use cases that I've kind of toyed with, but I still find them to be a little bit scary for the most part because of the restricted nature of AI. If it's in control of your livelihood, which I don't know that we want that.
Wow.
Do you guys think we'll end up having like a Skynet version of AI?
Say that again, Andrew.
Do you believe we might end up having a Skynet version of AI?
That's a Terminator 2 reference.
Anything is possible. This is America. What can't we do?
that would be scary. If AI could become sentient. Now, we early on we heard a lot of stories of AI displaying
sentience.
But if that happens, obviously we have a bigger problem because now you're dealing with an intelligence level that's better than human intelligence. And I think somebody projected that maybe in less than 10 years, most AIs will be more intelligent than human beings. They'll be able to do tasks better. So some of the skills that we go to school for may be obsolete very quickly. They actually have a list of the skills. And so in that regard, it could be Skynet if it could make its own decision outside of the human control. And the more we integrate it into our daily lives, into our daily technology, our tools, our TVs, our phones, our cars, there's a possibility that either it could be hacked through bad actors, or if in itself has some type of self-development or self-virus that it could create to go rogue, it could be a problem. We don't know what controls will be in place, but I know a lot of people are concerned about that. A lot of people are concerned about AI not being developed in an ethical way.
I honestly think that we have no real idea or way of grasping the monster that we are creating.
I agree.
That's really what I think.
I agree.
think that now I say monster. There's going to be some pros and there are going to be some cons. But I think that because we are a capitalistic society, because we try to monetize everything we get our hands on, right? It's about ROI. We've got big companies. They've got to, give back to share givers. They've got to support communities. They've got to. I think we're moving. I think people are thinking about what they're doing to the extent of that time frame that you're doing it. And you might be thinking about the future, but you're still limited in terms of, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, 30 years, that's still limit.
That's a good point. I'll close out. This is a shameless plug, right? This is where the importance of AI auditors in the next generation will be very key, because there has to be some human intervention to monitor AI and audit AI, audit the data, audit the language, audit the procedures, audit the results, to make sure it's behaving in an ethical way, and to make sure it can't be attacked or manipulated, right? I think the next generation of auditors are going to be the ones to keep us safe from any bad actors when it comes to AI technology.
And also, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say, not every job, not every career, not every industry, not every career or industry is going away, right? AI is actually, in some ways, going to create opportunities for job too. Because we've got to make sure that the integrity of whatever it is that you're creating, right? If a robot is creating a product for, a particular company, we've got to make sure that it's on point. No different than what we not risk management, but quality control.
Quality control,
right? So if nothing else, right, it may take away particular departments within a company, but it's going to grow that quality. It's going to grow one or two others, whether it's accounting and quality control. It's going to grow something.
100%.
So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't, even put that out there. Listen,
that's a good point.
AI it's something, right? And it's definitely going to impact us in some of them, in some of the worst ways. Again, that's the whole, job reduction, right? Downsizing of companies, because now artificial intelligence is taking over and able to do more work quicker, more efficient, so on and so forth. But while it's taken away, I do believe, and I've seen it, I think we all have in some cases, where it's going to create some jobs. So not everything is going to be negatively impacted by AI. Not everything is going away because of AI.
Do you, I don't know, from both of you, do you feel the workforce size will be diminished or increased? That's the real question, right? Because it'll create jobs and it'll take away jobs. But the net is projected to be a decrease in workforce over time, which is very different from the technology revolution where, you had architects going from paper to computer. But instead of it taking away jobs, it made them do more plans quicker. And you had more architects. So it created more jobs. My question to both of you is, do you see AI being a net negative or a net positive when it comes to job creation? Would it take away more jobs than it creates?
I think it depends on the industry.
Overall,
I think
all industries combined, net.
Net.
I'm gonna say net. I'm gonna say I could see. I just, in my own mind, as a businesswoman, right, being out there, being involved, from a political standpoint, from a corporate standpoint, from a community standpoint. I do kind of feel like it's going to take more than it gives. I do feel like it's going to take more than it creates. Yeah.
I would like to say, so yes, on one hand, it's going to be very subjective to the career, the field, but overall, I do think it will reduce a good amount of the labor force, but I don't think it's going to be without its amount of pushback. And I say it because, so like for example, with artists, people who draw, painters, we've seen that a lot of art has been AI generated, but we kind of see this pushback from artists saying, well, that's not really art because it was generated in 30 seconds or in 2 minutes by a system that in reality didn't have any, and in quotations marks, I'm going to say sense of originality because it simply pulled it from an entire database of knowledge that it has, of access that it has. I think to some degree people are going to push back towards, or they're going to push back against a lot of AI taking over jobs because while it's nice in the perspective that it really speeds up and it streamlines a lot of things, in a sense, you can kind of tell when it takes away that sense of humanity from different things. In a lot of documents, whenever you write a document, you can you can kind of tell just by reading when something was, ChatGPT'd or when something was generated by Gemini, etc. Whereas compared to somebody writing a professional thing, you can kind of tell the word choice is different.
Yeah, so Angel said something, the humanity in, right? You can distinguish the humanity. Listen, we're in a society now where DEI is not only on the back burner, it's intentionally being pulled to the back of the burner. Right. It is intentionally being attacked. So when you talk about humanity, right, in our society, and then you think about how AI will impact jobs, we live in a society where that's I don't think that's relevant. Again, ROI, return on investment, right? How much can I make? How big can we grow, right? If I don't need this many people and I can return this much in terms of dividends to my investors, that's who we are, right? And I only use the DEI piece because you talk about, it's like you're speaking about humanity in our society from a business standpoint. Listen, again, you got DEI, right, which is diversity in our organizations too, because we in the past under a particular administration, right? Yes. We wanted for there to be equality. We wanted for our companies to be able to create the biggest and the baddest and the best product because there were different minds, right? And people from different backgrounds pouring into that. Well, we're at a point, we've got administration, and we're at a point where we don't care about that. It's about, listen, let people make their own decision about who works and, who's in the organization, but we still need to make money.
I do like that point. I like the point of diversity, inclusivity and everything. But so kind of what I meant with the humanity aspect is AI will, at least to my experience, okay, when AI makes a piece of content, it makes it very...
Without a soul.
Without a soul. It doesn't make it very interesting. Like it just kind of... It's very generic, right?
Well, remember how AI works. Remember, we prompt and tell it what to make, right? So if you put in some generic and uncreative language, or prompt, you're going to get what you asked for, right?
I've tried putting in some...
And you only get better, right? I don't want to judge AI by what it does today. I want to judge AI by what it's going to do in 3 years.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
That's the way to grade AI.
Absolutely.
Based on the growth, what does it look like in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years?
Because we're certainly at the table working on that. Exactly. Everybody that's dealing with AI is already at the table. That's why I said to us, I don't know if we are I don't think we even fully grasp the monster that we are creating. And people are already at the table. The 3 years, the 5 years, the 10 years, the 20 years. We're already at the table. They're in the lab.
They're in the lab,
You could say when it first came to the table. Folks are already in the lab, working on that.
Cooking up the next iteration.
Yes. Well, I believe this has been a very productive episode. I think it's been a very interesting episode, a re-recording of our previous episode from last year. So
part two. There's certainly part 2 and 3. This is actually part 2. This is parts. This is never ending because of the subject,
That's
right?
True.
And because of the topic.
The subject's always going to come up. It's always going to change.
So we'll be back here at some point with an update, and then we're going to come back with an update to that update. They'll see us pretty often.
This was a good one.
This was a good one.
Well, to all our listeners, to all our viewers out there, I thank you for assisting us here or for joining us here, for tuning in. You know, as I started off the show and I say it off again, you know, I'm an honest person. We got nothing to hide here. We're re-recording.
That's right. We're transparent.
We're very transparent about this. You know, we're re-recording this in 2025 with updated information about what's been going on. You know, thank you to our lovely guest. She is, as I call her, the pinnacle of academia.
Well, thank you.
We
I'll
love
take
having her
it.
here. She
I'll
brings the
take
life
it.
and the joy to the show. Dr. Maya Burt-Stewart, and our financial expert. He is the owner of all of Wall Street.
Wolf of Miami. Wolf of Miami.
Exactly. You're gonna have to hold on.
I love that.
Let me go ahead and
Wolf of
trademark
Miami.
this.
The Wolf of Miami.
Yeah.
We're nicknaming that on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Angel Vasquez. Thank you for tuning into the show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.